Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1309A and today's date is June 18th, 2017 and the title of the episode is The Economic System is Ripping Itself Apart and Will Lead to a Cataclysmic Event. Now, before I get started, I just want to make two announcements. The first announcement, those fathers who are celebrating Father's Day, happy Father's Day to you. The second announcement is that I uploaded an interview with Ole Demigard. He does a lot of research into false flags. We talk about how false flags are originated, how these special units, how they fly around the world, and they use these units to create these events, and he breaks it all down. So if you want to listen to him, go over to the YouTube channel X22 Report Spotlight, or you can come over to the X22Report.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, you can play it right on the site, or you can go to newssentinel.com, same thing, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you can play the video there. For those people that are on Steemit, all you need to do is go over to steemit.com/@X22Report. It will bring you right to the interview and you can watch it on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are continually getting more economic information that this economy is completely ripping itself apart. And we talked about Illinois and how they're having a lot of problems. Last week, we reported that Illinois, a state which now faces around $15 billion in backlog bills, struggles over the next 2 weeks to somehow come up with its first budget in 3 years around June 30th and faces an imminent rating downgrade to junk, the first ever in U.S. state history. Now, what is happening right now is that the state transportation department, they had to stop all road work by July 1st if Illinois enters into its third consecutive fiscal year without a budget. So that's going to completely come to an end. State workers now, they've continued to receive pay because of court orders, but school districts, colleges, and medical and social services providers are under increasing strain. And if something doesn't happen, well, this whole thing is going to completely fall apart. And they are in crisis mode. This is not a false alarm. They have around a $15 billion funds backlog. And we could see right now that they're in big, big trouble. Now, very interestingly, we've been talking about how all this wealth is being flowed into the wealthiest individuals. And the gulf between the world's wealthy elite, those 18 million households worldwide with more than 1 million in assets, well, the gap is widening now. And according to a new study by Boston Consulting Group via Bloomberg, the households with a total headcount of roughly 70 million people, or about 1% of the world's population, control over 45% of the $166 trillion in wealth. By 2021, they will control more than half of the wealth in the world. And this means the rest of the world, well, they are receiving less and less and less. And we can see right now that this is continually happening, and this is all part of the central bankers' plan to have two groups, the wealthy and the poor, the serfs. And this is what they've been trying to establish all along, because we can see right now that everything that's happening around the country, around the world, they're putting countries further and further into debt. There's more austerity, and it's getting harder and harder for people. I mean, think about this. According to the Federal Reserve's latest survey of household economics and decision-making, a quarter of American adults, well, they can't pay all their monthly bills. 44% have less than $400 in cash on hand just in case of an emergency. This tells you something. And what is happening now is we can see that this economy that we're in, not just here in the United States, but around the world, it is ripping itself apart. And we are approaching a period of time where it's going to be a complete disaster. Now, we're starting to see the corporate media come out there, and they're starting to tell us that we're heading towards problems in the economy. And this is coming out of Business Insider. And they have had two articles right now. Actually, there's quite a bit more, but here are the two important articles that I'm seeing, and I'm starting to see a lot of the corporate financial networks come out and say, yeah, things aren't that great. Things are breaking down. And it looks like this is the beginning of the buildup to let us know that things are starting to fall apart. The first one is that the U.S. economy looks like the period before the tech bubble. And they're saying that there are 4 economic indicators that show remarkable similarities to 1999. The other one is, which we mentioned before, is about the yield curve. And they're saying a predictor with a perfect track record on the American economy is moving closer to signaling a recession. Now, think about what they're saying, because all along in the last 8 years, they've been telling us that the economy is improving, that we have very low unemployment, everything looks great, whatever the Fed did is fantastic, and now they're backtracking, saying that we have problems. Looks like there's bubbles forming. It looks like we're approaching a recession. Looks like these indicators are signaling a recession. They're already letting us know what is going to happen. This is what they are doing, because we know that the Fed right now, they are raising the rates, not because it's going to help the economy, not because they're going to make the economy better. They're doing it to bring down the economy. And we can see that people are very nervous about this. And this is why people are flooding into cryptocurrencies. Think about it. When you're not receiving interest on your savings, when the stock market looks like it's a scary place to put your money, and you start to realize that it's the central banks that have been buying up a lot of the stocks, it's the central banks that have been pushing the mouse button to keep the stock market up, people look for something else. Now, they know that gold and silver are manipulated, but people are still purchasing the physical gold and silver because they know eventually when this whole thing breaks, gold and silver, well, they're going to increase rapidly. And they're going to show that, yes, this is real money and this paper fiat system is fake money. People are looking at cryptocurrencies around the world, not just here in the United States, to basically take their funds and get some type of interest on their money. Because right now, across the globe, what do you have? You have negative interest rates. You have countries around the world, central banks around the world, trying to control the paper assets. So people are saying, you know something? I can make some money in cryptocurrencies right now. Forget about the stock market. And what people are doing, they're taking their funds and they're putting it into cryptocurrencies and they're making some money. They take some money off of it. And this is exactly what is happening, because they realize that everything the central banks have done, that they need a place where they can make some money. So people are running to all different areas. Now, again, the central banks, they do not like this. And those individuals that are controlled by the central banks, this is why they're coming out with this type of regulation to stop those individuals taking their paper money and putting it into cryptocurrency. So we can see that people around the world, they're looking for safe havens and they're moving away from the central bank currency system. And we see that the Federal Reserve, well, are intertwined with the deep state. They are raising the interest rates like they've done in the past. And we have to remember, the biggest immediate impact of the rate rises, well, it will slow housing. It will slow construction. And it will crash them. We saw this back in 2008. They were raising the rates in 2006, 2007, and boom, it brought housing to its knees. What are we seeing today? We are seeing the same exact thing. So when this hits, and we're already getting the warnings from the corporate media, it is going to be a complete disaster. We are going to see cataclysmic events all over the place. And people are going to be shocked. They're not going to understand what's going on. And people are going to be very worried. Now, we saw a bail-in in Spain, Banco Popular. And right now, the ECB is suggesting that under certain circumstances, it might be wiser to save a bank than to resolve it. And the ECB is coming out and saying, listen, yes, it might be the time to use the bail-in documentation that they have created to save these banks. And they're saying that taxpayers should be called upon not only to save the banks, but also to make whole all holders of the bank's subordinate debt. I mean, think about what they're saying right now. They understand the system's coming down. They use the bail-in documents for Banco Popular. And now they're out there saying that the taxpayers, well, they should flip the bill for the rest of the banks. And those people that have their deposits, those people who are stockholders, those people who have investments within the bank, well, we're going to use your funds to save these banks. It's better to save them using your money than to let them fall. And like I said, they've created these bail-in documents for a reason, because they're going to use them. And that period of time is coming up right now. We can see it. It's unfolding right in front of our eyes. So what do we have happening right now? The economy is completely ripping itself apart. The economy is no way strong. The corporate media is already signaling and letting us know that we might be heading into a recession. Now, we knew we were heading into a recession a very long time ago. Actually, we are in a recession. From when all the economic indicators that we've been looking at shows us that we're in this deep recession right now. Yes, they can hide it with all the food stamps. They can hide it with all the different entitlement programs. They can hide it with everything they have. But the reality is, and you can see it in the housing market, you can see it in the retail market, it is all falling apart. And what they're doing right now is they're getting everything prepared and ready. They're getting ready for this cataclysmic event. And there's going to be event after event after event where things start to fall apart rapidly. They implement the bail-in documents. Banks are shut down, and they'll call it a bank holiday. Most likely this will happen on a Friday. And everyone is going to be shocked. They're not going to understand what's happening. And this is why every single person needs to be prepared and ready, because you will not be able to run to the bank and get your funds out. Actually, your funds are going to completely disappear. Already with the bail-ins, the paper currency, we're going to see hyperinflation, and it's going to be a complete disaster. And this is why you need the food. This is why you need the water. This is why you need a weapon to protect yourself. This is why you need gold and silver. You need cash on hand, because you will use that in the beginning, because people will not know anything else. They'll just say, all right, give me the cash. And you might go to the store or someplace else, and they might say, okay, a loaf of bread is now $25. You might come back tomorrow. It might be $35. So what's going to happen over time is that cash, well, it's going to devalue, and there'll become a point where you won't even use the cash anymore. You'll probably end up bartering before you even touch gold and silver. Actually, I won't even touch gold and silver, because I don't even think we'll get to that point until the new system is brought online. I think we'll end up bartering before we even touch gold and silver. So we can see right now we are definitely heading down this path. The corporate media right now is already out there, and like I said, they were going to let us know when things are going to get really, really bad. And we can see already they're already letting us know, because listen, all you need to do is open your eyes. You can see what's happening in the economy if you look closely enough. Just like those individuals back in 2006, 2007 that look at the subprime securities, and they actually looked inside of them and said, well, wait a minute. How could these possibly be rated AAA when there's people in there defaulting? This makes no sense. So they knew what was going on. We know what's going on. And that's why we have been getting prepared and ready. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.